something happened. Okay.
Yes, this is probably my fault that when I turn on the recording, they tell me to agree to some their rules, and that happens that for a moment everything is turned off. Sorry for that.
Okay, so Isao, you will have to turn on your camera because we cannot see you. Okay, okay. So now it's working.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So Eva, we lost the presentation. Okay, so now we can start. So Isao, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much for giving me opportunity to talk with the people in Poland. My name is Yoshino. I'm a retired Toyota person, and a long time ago, I'm too old to remember what year I retired, but so many years ago. But I'm still, still communicating with the people, and today I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk about the business style between Japan and the USA, because I have never been. Actually, I've been visited in European countries a couple of times, but USA. The reason why I pick up USA because I spent many years in the US, and total of 14 years in the United States, working together with American business people. So today I'm gonna share some of my experience with you and on the business style between Japan and the US. So I'm not so familiar with European business people. So maybe some items may be different from yours. Must be some different from US. But still, I just want to share my own experience with the people from the United States. Anyway, let me go through very quickly. And the first page, a title is Characteristics of Successful Business Style. Well, successful, I don't know, but characteristics of business style between Japan and the USA. And I'm going to talk something about Toyota, because Toyota is one of the many companies and car manufacturers in Japan, but it's the company policy, character is slightly different from the many of the Japanese companies. I'm going to share it with you later. Right, first page, please.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
Zgubiłem się po drodze. Jak wy to zrobiłyście?
Wyjść z pokoju i wejść w spotkanie, to tutaj właśnie.
Ale ja.
Okay.
No na Teamsie.
Że ja nie mogę, bo jestem gościem, bo już potem mnie wylogowało wszędzie.
A to może tak być, bo ja mam po prostu mi się wyświetlają, do których jestem tam przypisana, czy coś tam.
A, no to, okej.
How can I enlarge this one?
Just a minute. Eva will do it.
Okay. Maybe I can see that. Oh, okay. Don't worry. I think I can see that. Okay, this one first chart shows the comparison of the business style between Japan and the USA. But as I mentioned earlier, Japan means maybe Toyota, including Toyota style, but Toyota is a little bit different. Anyway, Japanese style and the USA, because I have never had a working experience for many years with European people. So this is just a comparison in general, between Japan and the US. The first one is objectives of the not workers, but the people working in office or whatever. In Japan, actually, prioritize the mid and long-term profit. Japanese companies trying to focus on mid-term or long-term, not next year. Of course, it's important, but long-term. But in my opinion, in my experience, in the US on the right-hand side, maximize short-term shareholders' profit of this year or just right now. So this is, it's long-term and short-term. That's the major difference. In other words, if the top management cannot make a lot of profit in a certain amount of time, then sometimes the shareholders, they are not happy, then they might be thrown away out of the company. But it does not happen in Japan. Lifetime employment is basically the norm in Japan. Second one, expected result. I'm going to go through very quickly. In Japan, expected result or excellent result, well, same thing. In the US, same thing. But okay, this is different. Second one, developing subordinate people management. This is, I saw very little in the United States, but in Japan, particularly within Toyota, developing people working, particularly subordinate. If you're a big boss, then you have to think about how to help your subordinate to grow, to learn, and gain more experiences. That is part of the big boss's responsibility. That is a huge difference between US and Japan, particularly within Toyota. One of the greatest things about Toyota is that bosses are always very, very eager to help the subordinate to grow. And so that is very, very different. Number three, rightful owners of the company. Okay, this in Japan, shareholders, employees, and society. But in the US, shareholders is the first priority. You already know that. Number four, top executives selection. How to select top management? Well, most of the executives in Japan are chosen from within the company. While in the United States, I noticed that the executives, of course, come from the inside, but sometimes, come from outside, and it depends on the need. So be very, very, flexible. And all of a sudden, somebody just new from totally outside came to become the top of the management. So which does not happen in Japan for a couple of reasons. I will talk about it maybe later. Number five, staff members selection. When you hire, this is a huge difference. Look at this one. In Japan, good person, when you judge what are the items we have to use to select when we hire people. In Japan, good personality, good listener, and a nice personality, and then cooperativeness. That means we work together with a big team or a small team. So of course, you have each one has an individual assignment, but still we have to attain the goal as a group. So cooperativeness is very important. And next one is growth potential. This is also important. Growth potential means if we hire somebody, but still he or she does not attain a certain goal yet, still poor, but we are patient, and because they are less experienced, so we have to help them to grow. So growth potential, if he or she has growth potential in their mindset, in their ability, whatever, then we hire. So that's a major difference. When in the United States, I was involved in hiring people, but we hire people who already gain certain techniques, certain experience. So we expect them to utilize those experience. However, in Japan, it's different. Even they don't have any experience. Many of the university students don't work outside before they graduate. Still, they don't know anything about business. But still, even though they don't know anything about, still we find some all those potentials within their attitude, anything. Then we can train them, make it happen. So growth potential is important when we hire people. It's a huge difference. And OJT means on-the-job training, because even though they don't know anything about the on the work, how to do the work, but still we can help them, we can coach them and help them. So it's OJT, on-the-job training, because OJT is so important. While in the United States, people with required capability. Okay, people are hired just because they have a certain amount of experience already, capability and experience already. That's why they hire people. So the managers expect newly hired people to do the job right away and the next day. In Japan, no. As long as people are new to the job, so we train them, we provide opportunity for them to learn, and then if they don't have the knowledge and experience, we train them. So we are more patient. Well, it's not patient, but we take more time. That is our management style. So it takes longer time.
Isao, may I add something? Because what I'm observing on European market is that we are slowly moving to this Japan style, but the reason, I think we have different reasons. So we are requiring people with the potential because we are not able to find the needed capabilities and experience on the market. So we don't have them, so we need to train them. Yeah. So my question is, why you are putting so much effort on this potential of the people? Because in Europe, what I can observe is that we do not have those people on the market.
Well, actually, in Japan, university students don't learn anything about business practices. They learn some basic knowledge, everything. So they have no chance. They have had no chance. So there is no opportunity for them to practice or whatever. So it's very natural that they cannot do things right from the day first. But as long as we can see some potential within them, then we hire. After we hire, the person who hired the person is a kind of responsible for taking care of them to grow. And so again, because it's based on the lifetime employment system. Mm-hmm. So well, it's changing in the last 10 years. It's changing so very quickly to maybe Western style. However, still lifetime employment is a norm. And so that's why we have to attain the goal, but also we have to help them to grow, help them to learn more, to become trustful staff members. So anyways, it's a huge change. And
sorry, Isao, but I need I feel the need to mention also that you spent all your life in Toyota, yes. Yeah. But this lifetime employment, what was odd to me, that you were not jumping, but you have been moved through different departments.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Can you tell can you tell about it a bit?
I see. Well, actually, it depends on the company. For example, Toyota is, when Toyota hired the people, then it's not that each department was hired directly from the market. It's not. Personnel department, we have a specific department who hire and taking care of all the management, everything. So they make an interview and make all the investigation from the university or high school students, and they are specialists. So they hire people. Then what is the condition of the hiring, making decision? As long as students have some potential and to grow potential or to work great and to become more knowledgeable or they're capable enough and they're aggressive, not positiveness. So we need to find out whether this guy has a potential, not current ability, but a potential. Potential means the future potential, future capability. Then we hire people. Then, even though they cannot do any nice job right away, but we train them, we are patient, And it's our responsibility who hire and to train them, to help them out. It's a huge difference. I was so surprised when I was working in American, workplace, and the way they handle people working for them is so different. They don't help. They don't help, and which is so different. I am not saying this is good and this is bad, but it's so different. And anyway, maybe we can discuss about it later. And number 5, staff members. Okay, staff members selection. Okay, so same thing. Good personality. That means if they students, when we, for example, we have an interview from the high school or university student, one of the character items that we have to choose by is good personality or cooperativeness, cooperative or not, or growth potential. Oh, I already talked about it. See, so those potential is more important than actual ability they currently have. Number 6, employment system. Oh, I already talked about it. Lifetime employment is a norm. Well, actually, it has been changing in the last 10 years. Can you believe it? 30% of the university graduates who start working in the company leave the company. 30% newly hired people leave the company within 3 years. It's just like changing to American style. So it's terrible. It's terrible. But still, they have probably the younger generation, actually companies, their hiring, policy changed. They are open to hire people from the other companies. But in my days, there was no that system. Anyway, so number 6, employment system, lifetime employment, that is norm, basic. But in a Western country, including your country, maybe, under contract. See, whenever each department needs to hire somebody, specifically 1 or 2 people, those departments just, put some advertising and hire people. They make an interview, hire people, each department, right? But in Japan, no, we don't do that. Human resources department, they know everything about all the employees. So they do the job. They supply those people who are hired to our department. So we have our specific department who hire, people from outside. Number 6 or number 7, characteristics of organization. Well, actually, this is okay in Japan. Stability. This is the company's characteristics of the company's policy. Stability. That means is if you make a great success, a great good benefit and good profit this year, but next year it goes down. That's not stable. So stability is so important. Constantly, and consistency, same thing. Constantly improving, constantly growing. Reliability, same thing. So we always view things from the longer viewpoint that we can grow. While in the United States, as far as I know, respect for individual creative and diversity. This is the expectation to each person. The individuality and creativity and the diversity. So it's not a group mentality, but mostly not personal, but each individual capability is the most important item. While in Japan, and it's of course each person the capability is important, but you work as a team in Japan, in particularly in Japan in other companies too. But we attain something as a group. And even though each person has their own targets to attain, but still each person join in one group, and that group has its own common goal to attain. So it's group work. While in the US, of course, there is a group work, group target, but mostly each person has their own target to attain, and then they expect to be valued and then paid for the amount of growth they contribute to, and they want to get paid for the amount of the growth. But in Toyota is not directly related with the growth of your work and with the payment. So it's in other words, long-term viewpoint while short-term viewpoint. That's why in US, the people just come in, then after 3 months they leave very often. So I'm not saying it is good, it is bad. But in Japan, more stable. Once you're hired, then you don't have to worry about being laid off unless something happens. And next, we can discuss it if you have any question later. Next page, please.
We already have the next page. We go for numbers 8
okay,
to 15.
Okay. All right.
It looks similar to the previous one.
Okay, then first one is then number 8, loyalty. I already said loyalty comes from, it depends on the time you spend with the other people. If you spend more time, you get to know each other, and the relations of trust, between a company and employees is the base, and in Japan, particularly within Toyota, but in the US, and low loyalty. I'm not complaining, but it's loyalty because of the system is different. So employees expect to be evaluated fairly. But it depends on what fairly means. So directly, they want to get paid, they want to get a raise depending on the benefit or the output of the work. But in Japan, particularly at Toyota, if you did a great job on certain timing, that does not necessarily mean that you get pay raise right away. No, because everybody needs to have a chance, and if somebody, of course, they really appreciate it, but it does not directly relate it. So it's a kind of group mentality. Number 10, attitude toward work, and make final judgment after one goes to give. Okay, this is very, very important. When you have to make some important decision, then before you make a decision at your desk in your office, we are not supposed to make some decision at the office right away. When some other place, things happen somewhere else, then we have to know what is going on. We call it gemba. Gemba means the place where things are happening. So it's strange expression, but after one goes to the gemba and sees things himself or herself by their own eyes, then you can make a final decision. So that means we are not, particularly at Toyota, we do not make some decisions based on the report documents which is sent from the subordinate. Of course, it is variable, but we have to double check whether what is written in that report is real or not, or somebody's information, or you have to double check when it comes to the very important decision making. But on the right hand side, okay, what is that? Make a final judgment from theory and a report, more data oriented. Well, actually, this is not necessarily maybe true, but it's maybe not true. But in my own experience, because I used to work in a total of 14 years in the United States, many of my partners and all those managers make the final decision based on the report, which he himself did not go over to the place, and he did not see the actual thing by himself, and talk to the people by himself and get the direct information and then make a final decision. He didn't. My partner didn't. So that is very, very, strange for me, because how come just you make some decision based on just a report? And you have to make sure that what you see, what you read in the report is the same as what you see by yourself. Of course, you're busy, so you cannot go over to everywhere whenever you make some decision. Of course, so you cannot. However, this is a very basic attitude. You always have to make some. If you need to make some decision, you have to always go back to the very, very, basic place of, not basic, but the original place where things happening. So go to Gemba means go to the place where things are happening. Go to the people and talk to them face to face, and go to the document which started that project or whatever, and or talk to the people who was heavily involved at the beginning. So those direct contact, contact is so important. This is so important. So go to Gemba is a very, very important concept, particularly at Toyota. I'm now just combining Japanese companies in general and also Toyota, but this is basically Toyota, basically. And 11 plan to achieve, 11 plan to achieve results, steady efforts and phased approach. This is the Japanese style. While in the US, drastic actions are often taken to achieve visual result quickly, right away. So people, but I'm not saying that they are not patient. However, they want to see the result right away. But in most cases, in my own experience working in the US, sometimes it is not bad. However, if you say, oh, this is fine, then approve it. But maybe next year, based on that original plan, it may be successful. But if you don't make sure that all the elements are available, then you never know what is going to happen the year next. So it's so important that you have to make a very, very, Japanese side, steady effort and phased approach. So we are not supposed to try to attain the highest goal right away. There should be certain steps to attain the very high level of goals. See? When you, for example, when you try to climb Mount Fuji, for example, now Mount Fuji is about 3,660 something. It's very high up there. If you want to if you want to reach the top of Mount Fuji in Japan, highest mountain, then if you don't train yourself, then you can't start climbing up there right away. You have to prepare. You have to train your body and muscle and everything. First, maybe 2-3 months. Then you have to walk around. Then you have to train your muscle another 2 months. Then you have to climb up the not steep mountain, and then you have to train your body again. So there should be certain phased approach in order to attain the goal. So that is step-by-step basis. But maybe in my own experience, in the US, the drastic action are often taken, visible result to see the visible result very quickly. I am not blaming. However, if you, in that case, it's a drastic approach, then maybe right away you can get a good result. However, you have no guarantee that it will continue next year. So phased approach is a very, very important step to make sure that same result will happen and in a reasonable manner, to make sure that, step-by-step basis. That is our approach. And number 13, responsibility for failure. Okay, this is so important. Failure, scope of work, authority operation are often vague and work. Okay, but this is not so clear enough. But responsibility for failure. Okay, failure. Talking about failure, when you try to do something new, sometimes you succeed to attain certain goal. Sometimes you fail because it is new to you, new to your group also. So you never know whether you can succeed or not, but trying to tackle, as long as you think it is very important, that is very, very important. So we, particularly at Toyota, we think that if you try to challenge some very, very important but very risky targets, still we appreciate your effort, your decision that which you make to tackle. And also we appreciate the process. We expect you to create some certain process, maybe phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 process to reach until you reach the real goal, not to attain the goal right away. So we call it phased approach is very, very important. And so that is so different. So when I was in the United States working together with the Toyota people in America, and my partners always try to attain the goal right away, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because it does not go through the phased approach. So it depends on each people's working style or not. If you assign somebody else, then totally different. So there is no right passes. You have to go through that. And what else? 12. Root cause. This is when something happens, particularly something bad happens, then we have to sit down and analyze what is the cause of the problem. That is a very, very basic approach, right? And where is the solution problem? Okay. Particularly within Toyota, I'm just focusing on Toyota. When something happens, something particularly negative things happens, it happens very often. Because when you try something new, of course it happens that you fail. But within Toyota, even though you fail something, it is okay as long as you can learn what was the cause of the failure. If you analyze the cause of the failure and learn something, some action plans to prevent from the same thing from happening again from your own experience, then you are not blamed. Particularly, it is Toyota's culture. But I'm told in general in Japan, the most important thing is find the root cause of the problem is the only way to solve the problem. But in my own experience, actually, I did not. I was there in 14 years, but I don't remember that I have seen this type of attitude. So what I went through so many troubles, so many problems, and I ran into them, the big argument, yelling out with each other, and so on. But still, they did not understand. My partner did not understand me because the way he was brought up is so different. So I had a very, very interesting experience. And number 13, responsibility. Oh, okay. In Japan, group not in. Okay, when you get a good result, but sometimes it's a group work. So it's not that one specific person is evaluated very highly while others are not. It doesn't happen in Japan. It's a group effort. The individual and no, but as a group. But at the same time, if you fail, still you don't have to worry about being laid off, because there should be, everybody believes there should be some reason why he or she failed. So as long as we learn some lesson from the failure and then take advantage of that learning to the next project, then it's okay. So we don't have to worry about being laid off, being thrown out of the company. No, we never had that. While, as you know, the many people in the US, I saw many people when they make some big mistakes, they are thrown out, they just dismiss, and that happens. I feel so sorry. It could happen to anybody. So that is a huge difference. So that creates the in Japan, that creates some very what do you call it, the respect to the company, and also the bond between each employees to the company. While in the US, I saw very little connections, and respect, type of sense of respect toward the company, but they just, company is a place where you get paid for your life and whatever. So that was one of the very, very huge difference between Japanese, particularly Toyota style and American style. And chance is recovered. Same thing, chances to recover. Once you fail, particularly within Toyota, if you try something new, you may succeed, but at the same time, you may fail. Because when it comes to something totally new, there is a possibility that you may fail. But within Toyota, you are not accused, you are not thrown away just because you failed that project. Because if you tried your best, you spend a lot of energy and you tried it, but for some reason it did not come true. But still, they do not throw you out because you paid a huge amount of energy and effort into the project. Happened to be a failure, but then they keep it. And it happened to me a couple of times. I made a terrible, not mistake, but failure, and I did not make the project I proposed, boat project, and actually I was involved in the boat project, Lexus engine in the water ski boat, and failed, and I had Toyota lose so big amount of money, but they did not throw me out. Actually, President told me, Yoshino, you tried, and those both businesses new to us and new to you, and so just you'll be assigned to some other department, and because a new project is waiting for you. So that is, people will not, thrown out of the failure you created, as long as you do your best. So that's a huge difference. So from that type of activity, type of consideration in Japan, particularly in Toyota, I still have a lot of respect to the people who saved me, and who made the decision. Top management made the decision to keep me, even though I made a huge amount of loss, and to Toyota, but still they kept me and put me in a very interesting project, so that I did not see anything about in the US I used to work. Well, actually, Toyota related company. Anyway, next page, please. Well, actually, that is the major difference. And also, the same thing, but maybe goes very quickly. On left-hand side, Japanese business people, right-hand American people. And first one is plan things and high degree of specific detail. Okay, that is, sometimes Japanese people want to go very detailed, specific details, but Americans sometimes, big picture first. Japan sometimes pinpoint, and some just, very, very worried about too detailed. That is our weak point. It's a Japanese business style. Number two is prefer the act and on precedent. Okay, if we don't have any experience in the past, then sometimes we worried about it. So sometimes we avoid adventures or avoid some risk. We try to avoid some risk. But in America, this is more positive in American business style, creative and free from precedent. So if it's something new, totally new, you have no past experience, then people just ready to do something. But as I mentioned earlier, if it is your intention is great, but if you fail, then you will pay the price. But in Japan, if you try something new which nobody has ever had an experience and you failed, still they encourage you. Okay, this time you failed, but good luck, because you learn so many things. So what a huge difference on outcome. Anyway, number three is passive and conservative. Well, this is a little bit negative, passive and conservative. And then American people positive and forward-looking attitude, always, positive. See, so this is something that we need to learn from the Western culture. and passive conservative Japanese.
Isao, may I have a question at this place? Because you are saying passive and conservative and avoiding adventures, and in the same time you are talking about the continuous improvement. So how to connect those two, ways of thinking and acting?
I see. Well, actually, conservative means we always think that we are not perfect. Conservative means not negative, but we are not too proud. When we attain something, in my own experience in the US, when somebody just attains something, then okay, it's a big party, and then he is treated like a great guy. So he believes himself that, I don't have to work harder anymore because I attained the goal already. But in Japan, we are, even though we make a good progress, great thing on a job, still it's not the end result. It's still part of the ladders we have to climb up. So we are not reached the goal. So we are always ready to step up. And it's like always things that, this is not enough. Still we have not reached the goal yet. So this is a benefit of the conservative attitude. So it's so different. And so we always think that we may make mistakes, but at the same time we can make a progress. And so there is always opportunity for us to play. And then so people don't judge something out of the one-time activities. And so there is more opportunities for us to recover the loss. So it's a good and bad. I don't know whether I answer your question or not. Thanks for asking. And back to this one, reluctant to change. Okay, Japan. This is something that we Japanese need to learn. We Japanese people very familiar, feel comfortable to do the same thing. Well, actually, I'm talking about in general. Reluctant to change. While Americans prefer, I'm only talking about Americans, prefer to change. See? So if you don't change anything, do the same thing for 4, 5, 6 years, then it's not good. American people are always going forward, which is good. But in Japan, there are many people feel very happy with doing the same thing you are familiar with for 10 years because you know everything. So, not everybody, but basically passive and conservative. Yes. So that is one of the lessons we Japanese need to learn from Western culture. And next one is slow decision making speed. And where America quick decision making. Well, this is not good or bad thing, but slow decision making in Japan is that sometimes if you have to make a big decision, then if you are lower position in the management level, then you cannot make the decision by yourself. You have to ask your boss's opinion. Sometimes it's a big project, then you have to bring it up to the higher level. So it requires lot of processes you have to take. And in order to get an okay for top management, then you have to get more information. So it requires a lot of more time. So sometimes it makes the decision making process slower, longer. But while in the United States, I found out that decision maker, if the one person general manager, for example, he knows what kind of decision he can make, what kind of decision he cannot. It's very clearly dictated, clearly is open. So he knows what kind of decision he can make, what kind of decision he cannot. So it is very, very interesting that they are quick decision they can make. But in Japan, to make sure that all the related parties, the groups, and the people are okay with the idea, sometimes you have to go through talk and persuasion. So it's this is a bad aspect, but it is safer, but sometimes it miss the good opportunities. So it's a good and bad. It's not right or wrong, but it's good. It's so slower decision making is something that we need to review. always keep in mind. And the next one is collective, group-oriented. Because, in most cases in the company, even though in Japan, we work as a group. So if you attain certain goal as a big group, you assign one of the key items is Mr. A, and then another item in the big project to Miss B or something like that. So everybody working in each part of the project, each item of the project, and we work together toward the same goal. So it's a group mentality, group oriented. But while maybe in the US, even though they work as a group, but each person's responsibility is very, very clearly designed, clearly dictated, clearly regulated. It's written in the document. So they do that, what is written in the document. They don't do that, what is not written in that. But in Japan, it is not necessarily written, but it's understood without any written. But so this is the business style. And the group oriented, one benefit of the group mentality, group oriented working style is that you can get some new idea from somebody else, which you cannot. So if you find one solution, but maybe if you work together and discuss with somebody else, then you can get 2, 3, 4, 5 different new ideas. But in American style, if you are very, very smart, and then you can have an excellent idea, but you don't have to work together with anybody else, then in that case, only one idea. So it's not a good or bad, but it's a working style. So in Japan, most of the people working together, both on subordinate or on the same level. While in America, in my own experience, it's very clearly defined, each person, what they need to do, very clearly designed and written down in the document. So, but in Japan, it's more flexible. And next one is risk taker and sometimes avoided by others. Risk taker or respect. Well, actually, in the US, risk taker sometimes, American people are very, very, positive to do something new, try to something, which is good. But in Japan, risk taker sometimes avoided by others, and sometimes because this is changing, but this is sometimes it's a problem in Japan. Not necessarily Toyota, but in the company, if you want to take a risk, then you have to accept that when you fail, you may be punished, not thrown out of the company, but punished. But within Toyota, it's so different. If you try something difficult, something important but difficult to attain, then you will be appreciated. You will be respected. So, but many of the Japanese companies sometimes, sometimes people are just like this. So this is a kind of not negative, but it's something we need to learn. Next one, work in a neat and well-organized manner. American work in freestyle manner. Okay, this is personal, but in Japan, there is a certain working style, working attitude. So in Japan, we have been close to the outside country for so many years. So we feel happy. We feel like I'm one of the team. I do the same thing with my partner, with other people. But in America, everybody is different. So everybody wants to do something a little bit different from others. But in Japan, everybody wants to do the same way, same. So that's a kind of tendency. And but it's changing. You have to know that in Japanese younger generation has learned so many things, and so through computers or whatever. So they would prefer maybe Western style, working style way of thinking. It's changing very much. However, but still down on the bottom of our mindset, still we have kind of a group mentality. And good procedure, this is so important. Second from the bottom, good procedure lead to good result. While in the US, well, I cannot say that in general, but focus results more than process. This is what makes Toyota different, what makes General Motors, the largest company in the US, what makes GM failed, bankrupt. They went bankrupt because they don't go through the process. Well, I cannot say that, but this is, good procedure. If you go through the right, very, very nice process approach, right? Procedure means approach and the process and steps. Then in most cases, you can get a good result. And most importantly, if it works on one thing, then that approach can be used in other cases, other opportunities, other projects as well. So good procedure makes sense and safer, and maybe require more time, but it's very safer. While if you, on the right hand side, if you focus result too much and pay less attention to the process, then what will happen? Mr. A takes some process A, Mr. B take a process B, totally different, but still, if we let them do their own ways, then focus on the result, then people just feel like, okay, the big boss only want to know the result only. They don't care. Bosses don't care about what kind of process we go through that. Actually, that is what happened. In my project, I used to work on in the United States. They are focusing on the result, but process is also important. But they did not pay much attention to the process. They never asked that project. No, process. So this is very, very. It takes longer time, Japanese style. That good process, good procedure, but this is very, very important. On the bottom, stick to strict rules, flexible and pragmatic. Well, actually, this is too general, but Japanese people just always want to keep the rule, and sometimes we miss a chance to grow just because we stick to rule. So we have to be flexible. When things are changing, then we have to adapt ourselves to the new situation rather than stick to the old rule. Anyway, so this is too general. However, this is my observation between Japan and American business style. Sorry to redundant explanation. But next page, please. Okay, those 3 pages are basic, comparison between Japan and US. But this is work ethic. I don't know how much you're familiar with the Japanese culture, but this is one of the key things. First one is Japanese people believe diligence is a virtue. Diligence means working hard continuously. Work hard today and just be lazy tomorrow, but diligence, working very, very hard. And it's a virtue. We believe that's a virtue. And because you see, we grow rice, but this is an old, rice. They put the seeds in the battlefield, but this is an old style. But it takes a long time to grow rice. Rice is a very, very important source, and important food. Rice is harvested once a year. See, so it takes a longer time to prepare and requires a lot of people to do the manually. You have to do that. So when in the springtime, just like this, March and April, in those days, all the people in the neighborhood come down to this battlefield on one family, and they help them put all those things together. It's a group work. Then next week, another neighbors, people should go help them. Then in your case, in one day in your battlefield, other people who used to help this one come to help them out. So we work together to help each other. So it requires a lot of patience and persistence because agriculture is a very, very time-consuming and requires a lot of patience because we depend on the nature. See, you cannot grow rice in over 2 months, but it requires 6 months or so. So it requires a lot of patience and persistence you cannot control. Next one is agriculture is a collaborative work. As I mentioned, collaborative work. If you have one family and a father and mother and a grandfather, grandmother, then only and kids maybe 4 or 5 people. You cannot finish everything. So you expect your neighboring people to come down 1 week, 1 day or 2 days to put seeds over there, just like you see in this picture. So helping each other, collaborative work. So group mentality is created. See? And rice cultivation depends on human labor. So there, right now we have machines, but in those days, all people come together to help each other. So it's a group mentality which is created. Number 2, work is a mean to make a living. It's also something to live for. Well, actually, this is more to Japanese, but sometimes, people want to, just like onsi, this is a Japanese, just means sword, knife. Well, not knife, but it's sword. It's a weapon in all days. And when they create these Japanese swords, it requires huge amount of time and effort, and very, very, you have to concentrate, and you have to improve your skill into a very, very higher level. So craftsmanship is required. So sometimes work is very, very important to make a living, and so the work is not only to the money you get some food, but also work is, particularly in a specific area, the work is so precious, and so this is something. Work is so more important than anything else, particularly for Japanese people. It's not easy to explain this sentiment, but it's work is something. Maybe in Western culture, work is one way to make money to raise the family, to take care of the family. In Japan, it is, but at the same time in Japan, work is something that is, yeah, it's something I admit add more value. It's difficult to explain. Sorry about that. Next page, please. And also another case, well, actually, the way Toyota people do this. Now, so I'm going to talk about what Toyota people think about, and so on the top, set concrete goals, develop plans and practice and reviews. I don't know whether you're familiar with PDCA: plan, do, check, and action. This is a concept we learned. All of the Japanese manufacturers learned from the United States in a long time ago, 1960s and 70s. And also, next one is a good boss develops subordinate. This is something that makes a Japanese company, particularly Toyota, different from other companies, because good boss is considered to be the person who can develop subordinates. See, this is probably, this concept is not necessarily so important in Western culture. I don't know, but well, I would guess. Good boss job is to attain the goal of the group. That is normal in Japan too. But in Japan, particularly within Toyota, we add one more item, which is good boss needs to develop their subordinate. In many ways, in Western countries, particularly in America, when I just discuss with my partners, I told the Toyota culture, oh, good boss responsibility is to attain the goal as a big group. At the same time, secondly, and maybe firstly, but secondly, another thing is that we have to help develop people. We have to develop our people. Then he was so surprised. oh, we hire people with certain technique skills at work, so we don't have to train them. We hire people who already acquired that skills and know-how and everything. We don't have to teach them. No, the skills and work they learn maybe in high school or universities. Of course, it's too general, so you have to train them. So anyway, so this is some that makes Toyota different from other companies. Good boss always develops subordinate. And next one is I skipped. Yeah. Thorough and thorough and intensive analysis. Well, actually, when we have some issues, we have to have a very, very thorough and intensive analysis. Analyze why we failed. We have to ask why many, many times until we reach the real cause of the problem. Next one is Genchi Genbutsu Shugi. It's a Japanese word. That means check the fact with your own eyes. Genchi means the place where things happen. Genbutsu means the real thing. Shugi means a policy. You have to, there is a policy for you to go to the place Genbutsu, see the Genbutsu, the real thing, and at the real place. You have to go there, take a look by yourself. Don't judge something out of the document which your subordinate brings up to you, to your desk. Next one, you need to come out to directly collect first-hand information rather than, okay, first-hand information, that means the same again to bring yourself to the place, same thing. First-hand information, you need to collect first-hand direct information, not second-hand information, because it's twisted during the course. Second, third information, then it's twisted in the middle. So next one is visualization. Great. Well, actually, visualization means easy to visualize, easy to see, easy to understand. Good failure. Okay, this is important. Good failure is not bad. Failure is a great reservoir of a clue to the root cause of the problem, because when we fail something, we feel bad. However, boss will not blame us for the failure I make. They don't. Because we can learn so many lessons, great lessons out of the failure. Why we failed? If we learned what was the cause of the problem, cause of the failure, then if we clarify them, then we can protect from the same thing from happening again, because we know how we do will bring the failure. So if we analyze correctly, then failure is no more failure. It's a great experience. So that is a very, very interesting attitude, the way we look at the problem. Good footwork will bring you to benefit. Footwork means if you want to do something, then you have to go bring yourself to the people you want to talk to. If you want to make some decision, then you have to bring yourself to where the things are happening right there. So good, footwork means that you have to bring yourself meeting people in person, in charge, and make decision based on the direct information you receive from them. And bottom, this is most important. No problem is a problem, because we are human beings, make mistakes. There will be problems, even though we don't want to, but we make mistakes. It happens. See? So when we say no problem, that is itself is a problem. We have problem, but it is so important to find the problem and find out the solution. That attitude is so important. Of course, problem is a problem, but if we say no problem, we don't see many problems, that does not necessarily mean that there is no problem, but you don't try to see the problem yourself. There is a problem sitting over there. So this no problem is a problem is one of the key concepts of Toyota people. That is one of the reasons why Toyota is so different from other companies. These simple, very simple, not common. No problem is a problem. Don't blame your people for the failure they make. As long as you learn something out of the mistake they make. You can learn. So mistake is no more mistake. It's a lesson you learn. So that type of concept is prevailing across the company. That makes Toyota different. Next page, please. Maybe I'm too slow, but maybe I have to rush. Okay, maybe I'm gonna very quickly. Well, actually, Toyota, as you see, Toyota is located in the middle of Japan. You see on the left lower, where the red dot is the area, and Toyota headquarters, HQ. Toyota headquarters located in the dark green. This area we call Mikawa area, and dark green Mikawa area, which is more or less countryside, and growing rice, and so very poor area. And then on other light green area, Owari area, so Aichi prefecture is consisted of two places. And this area, then Toyota started in this dark green, which is Mikawa area, where their culture is very down to earth. And this guy, it's a Japanese, it's Edo era, which is 15th century, 16th centuries. He was born Ieyasu Tokugawa. He's one of the shogun, which is a kind of prime minister or president in those days. And he was born, raised in this area, which is Okazaki city, which is my home. I live in this city too. And so he was born and raised. His workings, his style, his concept, his lifestyle comes from this local area, local culture. And Toyota headquarters is located in here. And many of the top management of Toyota come from this area. Workers come from this area, which is one of the factors create Toyota's very, very down-to-earth culture. On the right green area, and they are so different culture. And so Mikawa culture, maybe I'm not going to detail that Mikawa culture of this area is very down to earth. And so that has a lot of influence of Toyota Motors culture itself, directly and indirectly. Next page, please. Maybe I'm going to skip this, but you can take a look later because he is very on the bottom right hand side. I'm going to talk about it very quickly. Steadiness, diligence in the center, patience on the left lower, learn from failure, right hand, humbleness. These are his concept. Yes, Tokugawa, those 17th centuries shogun, which is a prime minister like that. This is his concept. He believes this is important. See, this is the same concept of Toyota Motor Corporation. This comes from Mikawa climate. You can take a look later if you like. Next page, please. Actually, then now I'm going to talk about something in the last maybe 40 years. Japan-US trade friction. I believe you know that in the United States, big three, I'm talking about automobile company, big three, which is General Motors, Ford Motors, and Chrysler. Those three companies are the three major car manufacturers in the United States. They created Ford Motor, of course, you know, Henry Ford created the manufacturing style of small size cars in the United States. Then GM came up and the Chrysler came up. The big three has been ruling entire American, auto market. But they are making big size car like 3-liter, 4-liter, big, huge cars. But gas mileage is terrible. And so their sales goes down in 60s. And so the people found out, okay, maybe it's a Japanese cars which is imported from Japan, made in Japan, and brought it by ship and then start selling. they are smaller size car, but they are very economical and it's very, very, good, very good quality. So people, American customers started to buy Japanese cars, including Toyota. So then that as a result, the American big three's big size car did not sell well. So they are very not happy. So they decided, okay, this is because Japanese car manufacturers sending so many cars, cheap cars to this country. So just people just decided to buy Japanese cars, not GM or big three cars anymore. So they just put all the blame to Japanese car manufacturers, Toyota, Nissan, and Honda, and all the companies. It happened in the 60s and 70s. It happens. It's not our fault. It's their fault. They did not create good quality cars themselves. It's their fault, but they don't blame themselves. They just blame Japanese car manufacturers, Toyota, Nissan, Honda. It's a big mistake. So they blame, just like Seas. They're just pounding and Toyota cars and in Detroit and terrible things happened in the 60s. Then GM becoming so weak, and they just almost go to bankrupt. And then in late 70s, 1970s, GM, Ford, Chrysler, they're going down in business ways, and so they have to survive. So GM decided to establish a joint venture between GM and Toyota. And they just they made some offer to Toyota that, why don't we work together? We have a vacant factory in California. We used to manufacture cars, but we don't. The factory is not working anymore. So two years ago we closed. So why don't we have established a joint venture between Toyota and GM, and we will ask you, Mr. Toyota, so you can run the company, while we GM will provide workers and the facilities. How about this one? Then Toyota agreed. Well, there are so many reasons, but anyway, that is what happened in the 80s, 1980s, long time ago. And at the same time, almost 2 years earlier, Honda decided to step to manufacture cars in the United States, in Ohio, state of Ohio, in 1982. Nissan decided to establish a manufacturing plant in Tennessee, state of Tennessee, 1983. So Toyota agreed with GM to establish a joint venture between GM and Toyota in 1984. So all Japanese big three and decided to step into American market manufacturing cars in the US. This is what happened. And I think you are familiar, you know something about the NUMMI, which is New NUMMI. It's the initial of New United Motor Manufacturing Inc., which is new joint venture established in California between Toyota and GM. And see, I already told. Next page, please. Okay, see, NUMMI established this. And I already talked about the top one. Then NUMMI is name is NUMMI, and I already talked about the name is location California, management operated and managed by Toyota, and production Corolla is a small size car, 1100 cc. Sales network sold GM's Chevrolet dealers, employees 3,000. 85% are that come from ex-GM UAW workers because they laid off 2 years earlier. So they saved, GM saved all those 3,000 people. They did not have a job, but they have a right to get employed at NUMMI plant. And the agreement is that GM want to expect them to manufacture cars over there. Then they want to sell cars. They don't have to manufacture any small size car themselves, but they ask joint venture to manufacture. They sell cars. And Toyota, so that is their target. But Toyota's target is, as I said, learn management know-how in the United States, because we sent a top executive from Toyota. So Toyota people learn how to manage auto plant in the United States together with American workers. And yeah, and on there, on the bottom, I put it down. What was the GM plant before they closed? Can you believe it? Confrontational management and labor relations. They hate each other. They hate each other. Management did not care about workers. Workers in return did not work hard. They just sabotage, drink alcohol while working, and then fool around, and they put some wrong part intentionally in the car. They don't care. So terrible management of labor relations. And the absenteeism is very high. They just don't come up to work. And so GM managers came down to the bars in the daytime and talk to the workers and drinking alcohol and bring them to workers. That was how the GM plant was. But once a new joint venture started, within a year, you see on the bottom, 1, 2, 3 items. Confrontational relations disappear. Okay, and actually, okay, this is only the situation before joint venture. See, they don't care about each other. People, management don't care about workers. Workers don't care about management. Management always working in a nice office. Don't come down to the shop floor. Workers don't care. So they're just lazy and put some bolt in the tires and that do terrible thing. And so morale was low. Manufacturing quality was terrible, really. The worst, it was the worst plant within GM, among GM's around 50 plants. Then next page, please. After joint venture started 1984, then next page. Oh, one of the things, can you turn page 12, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, this is number 12.
Okay. Okay. See, okay, this page shows what this new joint ventures policy. Okay, key items agreed by Toyota. I already talked about it. NUMI is managed by Toyota. Okay, the Toyota production system is applied. See, and team concept. So we bring in Toyota style management style into this new plant. So no GM management style is taken. It's thrown out, not thrown out. Then basic policy, as you see, basic policy of NUMI is totally Japanese style. And the mutual trust and respect are other. This is totally different from GM style. But 85% of the employees are ex-GM people. So most of the people are ex-GM people. So they have a terrible relations with their bosses. But while Toyota started to manage this, they see totally different management style from top management. Mutual trust, respect others. This concept is now spreading out across the company. Equality. Equality means we treat. So at GM days, managers have their own lunch place. They have their own parking lot, and they have their own nice office with a nice carpet. They don't come down there. They just look down on the workers. But at NUMI was established, then they have only one dining room for lunch. So president and top management, the workers, they have lunch together in the same big room. Huge change took place. And equality means everybody's, they're treated nice. and teamwork, this concept was introduced from Toyota to Japan. No, Toyota to GM, this new plant. So there, within a year, in 1984 and 85, there those numbers or terrible numbers or the absenteeism came down from 20% to only 2%, and the quality became the highest within GM plant. And so they are become so happy. Almost the same people used to work for GM days, they totally changed their attitude by themselves, by their intention. And I was heavily involved. I was at the time in 1984, I was assigned to the training manager within Toyota in Japan, and I was asked to take care of the training program for new people because this joint venture, the top management come from Toyota. They decided to send all the group leaders, team leaders, the shop floor leaders. They formed a group of 30 people each time. They send them 30 people to Toyota Japan and stay Toyota City in Japan for 3 weeks, and they work together with Japanese partners for 3 weeks together. Only 2 to 3 weeks. Only 2 to 3 weeks, they are knee deep in the Toyota culture. Just 2 to 3 weeks. Actually, in the plant, only 2 weeks. Just 14 days. They are sent from America where they are treated so badly, but when they came over to Toyota City, they saw something totally new at our plant. So just only 2 weeks in shop floor, when they, after 2 weeks, or total of 3 weeks, training is finished, they decided to change their attitude by themselves. We did not force them. So when they returned back to America, the output of the production become higher, quality goes the best in GM and all those totally, we call it miracle, they saw miracle. And that is very, very huge change took place. And not because we changed them, we didn't. But my team tried to help them out to learn some to know exactly, and but we just helped them. But those workers who are treated so bad, they saw what is happening in Toyota plants and the very nice relations. They saw it by their own eyes. So they determined, okay, this is what I never expected to see. They decided, when I come back to America, I will do the same thing that my partner, Japanese partner, is doing. Excuse me, is doing right now in Takaoka plant. So they decided, they determined, and they promised themselves. So after they returned, they totally changed their attitude. It's a miracle. And if you like, I have a videotape which come from shoot these training program. Oh, actually, this one, yeah. So this is a very, very exciting, very, very interesting experience I did. And actually, this, yeah, you can get a copy of this. But to make a long story short, these, as I see on the job training I already told them. Italic, let me go through italic very quickly. Second one, we didn't practice Kaizen. Kaizen means, improvement activity. We didn't practice Kaizen at GM Fremont plant, but we do it every day here at Toyota. So this is what their comment was. So they are so surprised that they are making all the Kaizen or trying to make it better. Workers. We did not do that, but they do that at Toyota. This is great. Second one is, when a defect is found on site, we pull the string which is running above you to stop the production line to fix it. it's amazing that we can correct the trouble on the spot. In GM days, they are not supposed to stop the line, even though something is wrong, but they are not allowed to do that. If they stop the line, they were fired. So they cannot stop the line. They just let the line, the cars go through the line, and they don't care about the quality. If something is wrong at the end of assembly line, and after it's a load of assembly line, they fix it after they failed off the line. But within Toyota, if you find some problem, if you cannot fix it right away while it's moving, you have to stop the line and correct it. Then you push the button to start moving again. So they have a right to stop the line to do the right thing. That was so impressive to them. All those comments. What is another one? Yeah, and also Toyota managers frequently come to the shop floor to communicate with workers. They have never seen any GM managers come down to the shop floor. So this was so impressive to them. And the bottom, people are treated good here at Toyota. Now I really what respect means. So this is the comment comes out of their mouth after 3 weeks of training is over. Every time after they are finished their 3-week training, we have a big party, and I talk to everyone, around 30 people. Each time I ask them, well, what is the opinion? They are so happy to come to Japan and learn something, and they determined, I learned something important. I'm going to put into practice what I have learned to the Fremont plant when I come back to California. See? And on the bottom, change that happens at NUMI, absent without leave. So they don't come down. So just 20% to only 2%, 20 to 2. Assembly car cost is almost the same as Toyota plant. Production is 2 times better than GM average, which is amazing. And the quality is at the top level of GM, overall GM. And on the bottom, employees became responsible for the work and proud of what they do. So they stayed there only 3 weeks, but they learned so quickly because they were there on the shop floor working together with the Japanese partners. This is amazing. This is a kind of miracle. We don't call it miracle, but the people call it miracle, and miracle happened with them. And so this is a very, 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 very important experience for them. At the same time, very important experience for me as well. Next page, please. Well, actually, this is not Toyota or whatever, but this is a basic difference. Yes or no? Well, actually, maybe I can skip them. This is the basic idea, the basic difference between American business style and conflict and Japan. And maybe next about the next page 15. Same thing. Well, I already talked a little bit about it, and so maybe time is pressing. So maybe I would like to spend some time. If you have any questions, any comments, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Isao. Maybe I will ask anyone would like to comment, to make a comment or to ask something.
Any comment is fine. Any comment is fine.
So maybe I will start. My question is, everyday Kaizen. how did you manage it? The production is going on, things must happen, operation must go on. So when there is a space to make Kaizen?
I see. Well, actually, that is a good question because they are working, the line is moving, particularly in assembly line. So you cannot stop the line, have a meeting to do some Kaizen or improvement. So when you run into some Kaizen, you have to fix it and stop the line and fix it something. But during lunchtime or after the meeting, after the work is over, you have some special meeting and we get together and you share those practices and put it in the documents. So there is a certain small meeting takes place after that, each day or each week, I don't know. So so it's very, very important that each person and each person who was involved in that trouble, then they have to write it down, and if it doesn't matter whether it's his fault or her fault, doesn't matter, because we don't blame them. And if they find the solution, find the problem, they have to put it down. Then they get together in a certain timing and off the work, some special meeting, and discuss what was the reason why this happened. Analyze. They get together, discuss, analyze, and until you reach the real cause of the problem. So they practice. Then while they are having that discussion, they learn how to analyze the real cause of the problem. So they learn actually, while right after the work is over, they can learn how to solve the problem, how to analyze the problem and by themselves. And GM days, they don't care. It's not their job to analyze. The job to make Kaizen is engineer's job. So they don't care. But within Toyota, workers know much better than anybody else. So they are the right person to analyze and find out the solution. Of course, engineers is involved, but key players are engineers. So they are so happy to be given a chance to speak up, and so because they are recognized, and they are given the rights to talk about anything. So they are so happy. So of course, sometimes you have to do some overtime, but still they are happy that makes their job easier. And most importantly, they recognize. They enjoy being recognized. So
there is a question on the chat, and I will read it because it's really interesting, and we never talk about it before. Yeah. What was the biggest cultural change that you observed in yourself after the long stay in US, and how does it impact on your life after you came back?
That's a very, 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 interesting and very important question. Oh, I really appreciate. What a smart question. It is not easy. You know what? Before I'm assigned to the United States, I knew that American people's way of thinking is different from ours. I knew that, but it was, to me, it was okay. American culture and Japanese are so different. It happens. So it did not impact me anything. But when I was involved in that conflict between me and my partner, American, I was a general manager and he was a general manager. So we have to make some decision together. So totally different approach. Then it becomes so serious. So then I learned, okay, probably my working style is better than his, but he has his own pride. See, he has been working over there maybe 40 years, but I was sent to America just for 1 year, 2 years. So he believes he knows everything. So I don't want to intrude his area, but I always try to accept, and I appreciate. His name is Doug. Doug, I appreciate your insight. But how about this idea? How about this situation? So I bring up, not without interrupting, without telling him that his idea was wrong, but I'm showing the totally different idea and put it on the document and put it on the blackboard or something, and start asking him, because I had to be very careful not hurt his pride. I don't get into his pride. So I spend so much time, to talk to him in a nicer way, and by telling him that the way he thinks it was wrong. I did not say that, but I learned how to convince people, who come from the different culture. If if I talk with Japanese people, then it's easier, and because we are the same level. But in American people, he's very proud. He's very smart. He believes he's smarter than I am. So I don't want to compete. So I just always want to share. Okay, how about this? You said this approach. How about this? You said approach A, but how about approach B? How about approach C? How approach D? What do you think about this? And so, without hurting his feeling, I would like to draw some. So it requires a lot of time and effort. But I learned so many things out of my new assignment, and I became more patient. And of course, I never forget to tell him that, okay, his just your insight is very, very great and very, very, very good point. However, I have another opinion. Always start something nice first, then I express my opinion, and that was my approach, and it worked. And if I spend that type of thing for 3 months, then he understands, okay, Yoshino is always trying to think things from a little bit broader point of view. He learned my working style. Then he feels confident because, Yoshino is not trying to throw me out, but trying to beat me. But he wants to make this happen. So he believes that Yoshino came over here to become a partner and to make a successful project, but not to be on my position. So anyway, to answer the question, I try to appreciate, try to value, and try to protect his opinion, and then so at the beginning I try to be safer. I try to be more careful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether
Yes. So what you took back to Japan from US, from what you learned in US?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, actually, that was really the first time I ran into the people with a totally different culture. So I became more patient. If I run into some totally different opinion, which is I never thought about is right, but still I learned how to accept it. So when I was in Japan, I was younger. So when I ran into some crazy opinion, then maybe I said, well, that opinion is very, very different and very, very strange, but I don't like that. I did that so straight. But after I came back from the US, if they say the same strange opinion, that sounds great, something new. I never heard about it. Mm-hmm. And so I don't start neglecting it. I started with accepting it as a good idea, good attitude to bring up some idea. I did not decide whether that is a good point or bad point. I didn't say that. I appreciate your attitude to bring it up and put it on the table, which is great. I appreciate. By the way, I have another opinion. What do you think? So always make it not a personal, but it's as a business style. So I learned it so much, particularly first 6 months. It's horrible, but it's very, very interesting experience.
Thank you. We have another question. Sure. I'm not sure that you will be able to answer it, but the question is, currently more and more high technologies are being applied in the business, especially in production organizations.
How about what is that?
So high technology.
Technology. Okay.
Yeah. So, do you know how those technologies, new technologies, support support following the Japan management style?
Well, actually, it's a little bit too broad question, but technology, new technology is very amazing because it's handles something that which human power cannot reach, so which human being cannot handle. So which is great by itself. However, those new technologies cannot have any sense of human being, so they cannot judge things from the human point of view. So it's always right or wrong, plus or minus. But when we make some decision, right or wrong, and good or bad, but also maybe it can be possible, or some in between. So it's very, very important that you always judge something from these 2 points. One is from the very high-tech point of view, but at the same time, human beings' point of view, because in many cases, when you make a decision, many people are involved. So you have to add some more value from the people's mindset, or those things which machines cannot handle, computer cannot handle. It's difficult to explain. So sometimes it is not easy, but still you have to make a balance. How much human thinking by human being can be applied, how much percentage, or all those new technology, how much percent. There should be a certain percentage. If you expect machines almost 100%, then maybe you can make more parts, more products, but probably there's no Kaizen mind attached to it. Kaizen mind comes from human being. Machine does not do any Kaizen. Kaizen mind is a mentality, people's mentality, always try to improve. Machine does not. So that is so important, that always to have a good balance. But that's why the top management, even Toyota, just always they do not try to not neglect all the new machine. They are ready to bring in new machine, but also they want to apply human mentality, human management, or human checkpoint, that concept, put it together. So
I understand from what you have said that the technology is serving people. Yeah. So if so we can use, for example, data, a lot of data. New technology can analyze faster than we. Yeah. We can get data directly from machines. Yeah. So thanks to that, we can get correct data, correct input. Yeah. So when we are getting those data, we can be prepared to discuss it with the worker. So we do not have to work with opinions, but with the data, which will support us. To make the correct decisions, yeah, or to start Kaizen on the certain topic. So I think that what you said, what important you said, is that always technology should serve the people, not opposite. Yeah. So
yeah, what I'm trying to say is that, of course, machine is in a certain point, machine is calculates things much faster, much quicker than people. So from that point of view, maybe you can use that, the result of the machine work, but at the same time, we have to think from the people's point of view, and you have to combine these one too, because if that's the reason why we cannot expect machine, every 100% machines to make quality cars, but we have to add some human knowledge, something added, and or just a backup or something. So that is one reason why we cannot expect machines to do everything. And so, for example, if the machine creates some process to make a very good quality in a very short period of time, but if it requires a lot of walking, lot of bending down, and a lot of standing up for the workers, then even though it really works good for the machines, but it does not work for the people working on. But there are so many reasons you have to add some point to view things from the worker's point of view, and you have to think about it, and then if it's a good balance between machines, technical analysis together with the people, human beings viewpoint, so nicely put it together. So in other words, we don't trust machine 100%, but also we have to add some values from the people point of view. And so I don't know whether I answered your question. But...
Yes, I think yes. There is a comment even from Michał that organizations are being made from people, so fundamentals of leadership style will sustain even the breakthrough technology is growing in the manufacturing. Because we are giving the information, we are defining how the technology should run, how it should support us. Right. We people.
I agree. We are the main character to run the whole system. It's not the machine. Machine can play some important role. However, it's not a major. Well, actually, we have to make some decision from the human being point of view. And so that is one of the things that now all the manufacturing companies are facing, because many of the works just is now transferred to the machines. But still, we cannot say that everything we can put everything in the machines and just wait. But there is always a space for human decision making. Process can play some important role. That's an interesting question.
Thank you, Isao, for that. I think that it's time to finish for today. We have 25 minutes delay. Maybe we need to set up 2 hours meetings. So thank you a lot, and see you in a month. So next meeting is on the 9th, correct, Eva?
9th
on 9th of May.
9th of May, yes.
Okay. And Michał, are you inviting Isao-san to Gdańsk? I can see. So you have an invitation to visit Gdańsk. Okay, let's Michał talk about it, what we can do.
What will be the topic? Okay, you already have some topics, right? Okay.
Okay, so thank you for participation. Thank you for time together, and see you.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. What is the Huang? I didn't ask this question. Oh, no, he left. Okay. Yeah, okay. Panie Jakubie, zostaje pan z nami?